Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Sarah Busexu, and I'm Customer Success Manager here at VirusTotal. And today we will talk about evolution of attacks against the public sector. Let me share my screen first. So, here we go. So, as you know, the public sector has become a favorite target for cyber criminals, and public organizations have seen a clear increase in intrusions since 2020. Cyber attacks against the public sector mainly cover political motivation, influence campaigns aimed at guiding the outcome of a vote, or military and political espionage, etc., and economic ones, stealing money from a public administration, attempts to influence local policies or budget allocations, etc., etc. We see daily news of attackers targeting government, public agency, public administrations, etc. And both private and public sector organizations are increasingly digital, from cloud, digital platform and services, mobile applications, etc., and hence increasing the exposed attack surface. So, especially public organizations are now forced to imagine and propose institutional, operational, and technological responses to maintain the bond of trust between their administration and public sector users and guarantee national sovereignty. Now, how campaigns targeting the public sector have evolved in the last months? What are their modus operandi and attackers' toolkits? And how can we get this information from VirusTotal and help minimize our exposure? Okay, so one of the main challenges for security teams is knowing the whole pictures and gaining context around the threats. Without these concepts, it's difficult to determine attribution, build effective defenses against other attack variants, or assess the impact of a given threat in your organization. VirusTotal is the richest and most actionable crowdsourced threat intelligence platform in the world. It equips security teams with comprehensive context and cutting-edge functionalities to proactively protect their networks from cybersecurity threats. And here we have some numbers. Over the last 18 years, we have processed more than 2 million new files per day, more than 6 million URLs per day, from 232 countries, more than 2 million new users per month, etc., etc. We receive a massive amount of data each day, and we use this crowdsourced intelligence to analyze relevant data, share an understanding of how attacks develop, and help inform how they might evolve in the future. At VirusTotal, we are continually adding more functionalities and features, and one of the most recent and very interesting ones is VCN Insight. With this new functionality, VirusTotal goes beyond this technical intelligence, adding context and knowledge, but also digests information, identifying threat actors, their methods, incorporating TTPs, knowledge about the malware campaign, etc. So now, for example, if you go to VirusTotal here and intelligence and threat landscape, the first thing we find here is that we can explore all the IOC's collections created by these users, partners, and open source intelligence that we accrue. If we jump to any of those collections, as you can see, it's a grouping of files, URLs, and IPs. I can search through those collections, but also I can sort here by number of domains, number of files, IP addresses, URLs, etc. And I can filter by, which is very useful. So here I can say I want only for connections that contains this text, the owner of the collection, the creation date, the targeted industries, threat categories, source regions, targeted regions. So, for example, let's look for industries, targeted industry, governments, and administration. So here we have this list of collections. For example, if we click on this one, so this is a collection created by Alliant Vault, Targeted Industries Government Administration. Here we have some tags that are identifying those IOCs collected here. And then we can do different things. First, we can export those IOCs. We can move pivot to VT graph and see the relationships between the different IOCs in VT graph. We can share the collection. And then we have different tabs with different information. Here again, we can find a description of the collection. So the first tab here is IOC. So here we find all the IOCs found in these collections. We have hashes, IPs, but also we usually find domains and URLs. Then we have rules that those files are matching. So we find counters, Riara rules, Sigma rules, and IDS rules. Here we can view the rule, copy the rule set, and use this Yara in other security systems if we are using Yara there, or use those rules in hunting and VT. So we can use those rules in live hunt or retro hunt. Also, we can search for other files matching the same rule. The same with the Sigma, and usually we have also the IDS. Then we have a TTP. So here, what we do is aggregate all those IOCs because we have aggregate all TTPs from those files in this grouping of IOCs because we have sandboxes reports and because those sandboxes contains the TTPs for each sample. So we can see that, for example, here we have this grouping of 12 matches that have this technique, for example. We can actually pivot to those 12 matches to VT intelligence, find the commonalities between them, dig deeper, understand better those samples, find more IOCs related to them, etc., etc. Then we have graph. Here we find a graph where we can see the relationship between the different IOCs found in this collection. But also we can explore this graph in VT graph, where we have different features that we can use to help us in our investigations. And then we have the community. So here we find the related community effort, like references and related references. We can go through this, we can go to those reports and we can find information on how to act and prevent the attack, for example. So as you can see here, we can do a similar thing with threat actors. Again, here we ingest threat actors from multiple sources. Here you can find the list of all the threat actors known by the community. And also we can sort by and filter by. So again, let's filter by the industry. Government administration. Okay, so here we have list of threat actors. So for example, if we click on Lazarus Group, first we have the suspected sponsor, target industry categories, private sector and government administration, and then a description of this group, aliases, suspected victims, and then all the collections founded in VT that are related to this threat actor. Also here we have all the IOCs founded in those collections. So we have more than 60K files, domains, URLs, and IP related to this threat actor. Then here we have the different TTPs used by this threat actor. And then the community. So here we find what the community is talking about, speaking about these threat actors. Beyond that, in our roadmap related to VT Insight, we will be adding and expanding more in the context and the actionability of this data. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation. And let's see the threat landscape evolution. We have analyzed the evolution of malicious files submitted to VT, and here we can find the evolution of the malicious word samples submitted to VT. So here we can see that in this chart we have from January 2021, and if we focus on the 2022, we see that the graph is almost constant, except a specific month where we see clear peaks, June and August. Regarding malicious PDF clusters, here we can see different sets of PDFs used mainly related to phishing attacks, often hosted in URLs in the wild. And here in this graph, this graph actually can give us a notion of how many different campaigns use these PDFs in phishing or malware distribution since January 2021. But if we focus in 2022, we see a slight increase in malicious PDFs, especially in the recent months. Infection vector. So comparing 2020 with 2021 and 2022, we see a clear increase in phishing as infection vector. And this is also reflected in emails. Email threats are up to 101% and remain a top attack vector. Spear phishing, as you know, are the most successful attacks. It all starts with social engineering, and we are seeing many examples using this type of intrusions recently. Ransomware evolution. So let's take a look on how ransomware sample submissions to VT have changed over the past few months. Here in this figure, we can see the distribution over time of ransomware-related submissions since January 2022. We observe a constant baseline with certain peaks in the middle of the year here, corresponding to a different campaign and malware. And recently, we observed the biggest peak of the year in September. If we go to the top ransom families in 2022 timeline, we see that it seems that the peaks in the middle of the year corresponds to Conti, but some Grand Crab variant seems to be responsible for the huge peak we observed in September. Regarding the top ransomware families, so this chart shows the top ransomware families by number of different examples. We see that the Conti family stands out by far. Probably there are different AV's verdict detecting examples as Conti, but in reality, it's some new spin-off from this family. So Conti is the absolute outliner in this chart, followed by Grand Crab and Fuzap. Ransomware by file type. Here, no surprises, 95% window related. But the interesting thing here is that Android is in the top 3. Okay, so ransomware is distributed by different distribution vector, but mainly it's through phishing. So how VirusTotal can help you prevent ransomware attacks? We have many ways to do that, but let's start with a very simple search using VT Intelligence. So this is VT Intelligence. This is what we call the Google of malware. Help us to search for file, hashes, domain URLs, IP addresses, but also it's very interesting to build advanced queries and search in petabytes of data in matter of seconds. Keep in mind that all those searches that we can do in VT Intelligence can also be done in VT using VT API. Now, we can start with a very simple search. Let's search, for example, for engines ransom and have email parents. So here we are searching for emails related to ransomware or file related. So here, for example, we can pivot to any of those examples. Here we can go to relationships and find the email behind the parent's email. Here we can pivot, click on the email, pivot to the email. Also find more relationships here, etc. Also, interesting way to see those relationships is by pivoting to VT graph, where we can get more visibility and context, and also where we can gather more IOCs that we can use to feed our defenses. So here, all those red icons, because they are detected, and also all those icons with black dots, because you can do a full expansion and expand the graph and find more IOCs related to this campaign, these threads. As you can see, we can do the same thing with the other icons. Okay, so let's go back to VT intelligence. And we can also change, or can also change ransom here by the name of a family that we are looking for. For example, we can say engine, let's put Conti, and have, for example, execution parents. You have a very big list of different VT modifiers that you can use for your searches to make them as specific, as accurate as you need. So here, for example, we have all those 780 files that have this have execution parents and are identified as Conti ransom. Again, for example, I can filter a little bit more this file by adding the date, for example. So we can say from the beginning of this month. Wait. And here we go. Okay, so now let's focus on searches targeting our organization, how we can uncover phishing attacks using our brand, for example, or using our domain. We have a lot of ways to do different searches. A simple one is just saying, let's look for emails, for example, with engines verdict phishing. And let's put here, for example, our domain. And here we go. Again, we can add as many modifiers as we want to filter this search. Okay, also another interesting use case of VirusTotal is finding recent vulnerabilities. VirusTotal provides you with a unique visibility on how vulnerabilities are being actively exploited by attackers and what kind of malware and actors are behind them, as well as how quickly these malicious campaigns are spreading. For instance, you can see which CVE are being exploited by attackers in the wild at this moment or that in the last few weeks, what kind of malware they are distributing, and what actors are behind that. This is essential information to do a proper risk assessment so we can properly prioritize any relevant vulnerability that need to be addressed. So for example, let's search for recent files using identified as some kind of ransom. So for example, I can say engines ransom. We can use different tags. We have lists of different tags that we can use in our searches. Let's put, for example, tag exploit, tag CVE. And again, let's filter back by date. So let's put, for example, from the beginning of this year. Okay, so we have 61K file. Again, it's too much, so we can filter by date. We can add more filters to this search. Now, let's also we can search for files related to a specific vulnerability. So, for example, I can search for files related to Folina. So we can go directly and say engines Folina. I can put again the tag exploit. I can actually put the tag of the CV of Folina, which is 2022 90. And let's look for type docx. So Felina was a zero-day flow disclosed on Twitter by InfoSec research group from Japan, and it was founded by in the wild example uploaded to VT from Belarus. And actually, this is the first example uploaded to VT. It was uploaded. The first scene was the 27th of May. So we can go to this file here. In telemetry, we can see the different submissions, and the first submission was from Belarus, the 27th of May. We can go to content, open the file here, which is blank. Here we go. And we can do different things. So for example, let's explore relationships. So we can try to find the specific file inside the doc that made the request in the bundled files. So here we have this XML, which is detected by 36 AVs. If we can go to the contents of this XML, and here we can see that we have different URL that seems legitimate, but this last one here seems to be something suspicious. So we can pivot to this URL. Also, we can find it here in the relationships. This one. We can go to details, pivot to the body of the URL. And again, let's go to content. So here we can see that this HTML can contain comment tools. So we can do code here. Here we go. So there is an invoke expression base 64 that we can see in this HTML. Okay, so it was here. Okay, so if we go back to the original file here, as I said at the beginning, almost everything is clickable here. We can pivot between the different information, but one of the interesting way to do our searches is based on the behavior. So here we find all the sandboxes that have analyzed the file, and here we have the report of the complete report of this analysis. So first we find the TTPs here. Then we have the network communications, DNS resolution, IP traffic, the file system actions, when we can find the file, open it, written, deleted, etc., processes, etc., etc. As you can see, almost everything is clickable in these reports, and we can pivot to any of this data and do a search based on that behavior. So for example, if I click on this IP, I'll find all files in VT that have this IP in their behavior network. Here we go. So I can do the same with the TTPs. For example, I can click on any of those techniques and do search based on that technique. Okay, this is interesting because I can actually build a query based on the attacks technique, like this one that I just copied. So those are techniques used in data leaks, for example. So here I have all those techniques. I can find all those files that have some kind of this, any of those techniques in their TTPs. And again, I can add as many modifiers I want to make these searches more specific. Okay, so as I said at the beginning, we can automate all these searches using VT API. And going back to the vulnerability management, we have created this dashboard here where we are analyzing, or we can see all the top 10 CVEs, for example, here, results since 2021, 1st of January. And we have, this is the search that we are using here. Then here we can see the different CVEs, the evolution of each one of them. And here we have the top 10 CVEs the last 3 months again. And we can see the evolution of those CVEs. So if I click on any of these CVEs, I can get more information here in the bottom. So for example, I have here the details of the CVE and also all the collections related to this CVE here. So here we have different collections that contain the CVE. And then also using the API, we can see the submissions of this file in the last 3 months and the type of files found in this CVE. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation and let's see the attack against the government. So let's have a look on number of events targeting government and public administration. Here we see attacks per month. So this is data based on OSINT events. And as you can see, the attacks are continuous and active, although we see the month between March and May, and the month of August have been the most active ones. September is not yet over, so here we still missing data. If we look to the number of examples, IPs and domains, so we can see here that February and May are the months where we found more examples related to those events. And some highlights related to these events. So analyzing those events, we can see that a relevant number of events are related to the conflict Russia, Ukraine. Several events where ransomware was involved. More than 25 different actors, including APT and cyber criminals, involved in the tracked activity. Sidewinder and APT41 seem to be the most active ones by number of events, and several attacks including no backdoors with different level of sophistication, also for Linux and Android. So this is it for today. Thank you very much for your attention and your patience. And let's see now the questions. So here I have. Okay. So, yeah, where can I find the modifiers used in the queries? You have a list of VT modifiers that you can use not only for files, but also for URLs, IP, and domains. This is what we actually in the documentation in VT Intelligence, you can find the different modifiers you can use for each entity. You can find all this documentation in the footer of when you go to the VirusTotal website. Is VT Collection a new service on VirusTotal? VT Collection is a new entity, I would say. VT Collection is a set of files, URLs, domains, and IPs you can create it, but also you can search for other entities created by other users. and you can make your search based on those collections too. So it's interesting because, for example, you can search for entity collections related to a specific city or a specific malware campaign, and you can find different IOCs founded by other security researchers. How can I keep track of these families in BT, of malware families? Okay, you can do all these searches using the BT API and do periodic lookups. But also you can use, I didn't mention it, BT hunting to be notified whenever a new file uploaded match any of your YARA rules. So we can create YARA rule based on what you're looking, files that you're looking for, and using live hand. So each time new files uploaded to VT matches the rule, you will receive a notification. Okay. So this is it. We don't have any other questions. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you next time. Thank you. If you have any question, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you.